Welcome back to Third Man In. I'm Zack Phillips, and tonight breaking down Game 8 of the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season tonight, losing to the Nashville Predators 3-2 in overtime. Tonight we'll break down what went on in the game, the results of this road trip, whether or not this was a successful road trip. But before we get into that, obviously, happy Halloween to everyone. We'll keep this one a little bit tight. If people do want to call in, we'll try to get callers in through the show here tonight, but I'm not going to tell anyone what I am. If you know what I'm dressed as here tonight, you got to send away in the chat. I want to see guesses. What do people think that we're dressed as here for this this Halloween? I want to see all of your guesses in the chat. Let me know. But let's get through. We'll break down everything that went on here, some plays of the game. I do have some thoughts. I have some thoughts on this road trip, how things went, basically kind of some takeaways here, some things to look out for, some things that I think went well, some negatives, some positives, and some things that maybe, hey, we don't have to think about too much. But ultimately, you go 5-3 on the year now here after this road trip. Going back home to Toronto, this has been a long road trip, what will be the longest road trip of the season, a 5-gamer. So not too bad for them to be able to at least get away from this one. I mean, you go to Florida, lose that game, but then win in Tampa, big win in Tampa there. A win on Tuesday night against Washington, a win on Thursday night where Joseph Woll is out of his mind against the Dallas Stars, and a win here, overtime point win a loss here tonight to the Nashville Predators. All in all, not a bad road trip. It's long. You played some tough opponents realistically along the way, and to come away with the amount of points that they did, kind of deal with some of the stuff in terms of McCabe injury, Liljegren injury here tonight, Joseph Woll kind of emerging and sticking out as a guy who might have to be your number one guy throughout this season. I think that there's some positives for this Leafs team. I think it's something that you can kind of be happy about, and we can all sit here and say, in the bigger grand scheme of things, in regards to what happened, how things went, how we feel about it, I don't think there's anything really here to hang our heads on and be upset about for this Leafs team. So, all in all, I think this is a pretty decently successful road trip. Now, that's kind of the bigger picture. There are some things we want to get into in regards to what went on smaller scale, maybe some more zoomed in stuff. So we'll get to that throughout the show. I do want to hear people's thoughts, obviously, so make sure to fire away in the chat. But if you are new here to this channel, or if you're coming back and you haven't already, please make sure to like this video, like this stream, and hit that subscribe button to help support the show here. It does help us continue to get more eyes on the channel, help continue to push out and get more viewers, continue to grow the community, make the chats a little bit more active after the fact. So that does help all of that. So make sure to like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. I'm still seeing no guesses here in the chat as to what I'm going as for Halloween this year. I've got the cup here, the ring on, black t-shirt. I don't know if I need to like, know what I'm saying? Can someone figure this out? No guesses. If you do have guesses, make sure to fire them away in the chat. I want to see that. But we'll read through the chat here, what people are thinking, how people feel about the road trip. I do want to take some consensus from people. If you do want to call in, as always, make sure to send me a message. You can send that on Twitter, Instagram, Discord, whatever it might be, whatever is easiest for you. Typically on Saturday nights, we do have our man Gord call in to the show. Looks like that won't be happening here tonight. No worries. Says, sorry, I can't make it tonight, Zach. And chat, I'm on the way out the door right now. Have a good show. No worries, Gord. It is Sunday morning for him after all, so completely understandable. And I see Gord firing away a guess there. We'll see if some other people want to fire in their own, but looks like we're still awaiting official response as to what happened here with Timothy Liljegren tonight. There you go, Gord. Julian, Trailer Park Boys. That would be correct. Nice pickoff. But it looks like Liljegren sustained an upper body injury. I mean, that's pretty obvious in regards. So if you watched what happened here, he did get hit, take a high hit, and then went to the bench in some discomfort, sat down on the bench, and then ultimately ended up having to leave the game. So tough one there for Timothy Liljegren, but this Leafs team did manage to battle through. You are already down McCabe. You had to send Minton down before this game in order to bring Legason up and let him get involved here tonight. So you're getting a mismatch. You're a long way through this road trip. It's been a while. First game, I believe, was last Thursday, so now you've extended this one out over a week. Like you played Thursday in Florida, Saturday in Tampa, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. These are all road games. Again, like I said, longest road trip of the season, so it's not like you're going to have to adjust and have to do this again, but that's a long time on the road, especially here right off the beginning of the season, right off the bat. I don't think that this is anything to hang your heads on here tonight, despite going down in a loss. But as I said, there are some micro things that we'll get to. So let's kind of take a second to dig into some of that. If you guys have thoughts on the game here tonight, please make sure to let me know. I will continue to read through the chat. I mean, yeah, Donnie does dishes and Ngannou was robbed. I did watch that. I did think that he probably could have won that. Maybe did win that. I hate 3-on-3. I think the winner should only get 1 point, the loser none. There has been some discussion about moving to like a soccer style of point system. I don't think that would be bad. I think it might mess things up in regards to like historical records of points and how many points people have gotten in seasons. But that being said, you do that, the 3-2-1 kind of thing, it kind of eliminates some of the stuff. I don't mind it. I think that's what it is, 3-2-1. I don't mind going to that style. I just think that, and even like looking at some of the historical records, I don't think it matters that much. You've expanded the game here to a point where you have more teams, you got more games than you had in years past. Like, it's not really like it matters that much. Even look at the NFL. That's one of the biggest tradition things ever, and they added another game to their season. So I don't think it's really too bad, but I mean, yeah, 3-on-3 hockey. To me, 3-on-3 hockey, though, better than going to a shootout. So, fine with that. Arnett B. Willie, he looked like that at one point. Oh, Gordon Graham, off to hot practice at noon. Decent game. A little sloughed down by both teams, but good for the Leafs to pick up point considering how well Saros played. Not a bad trip in at all. Oh, Arnav is guessing if I look like, if I was dressed like Nylander. No, not Nylander. That would be Julian of the Trailer Park Boys. Yeah, not a bad road trip. Marner still making nonsense passes. This is something we will get into throughout the show here today. Sammy's still not good. Another thing we'll continue to discuss. Actually, you know what? Let's get into this right now. Ilya Samsonov, for me, is a little bit concerning because I think he played better in terms of the overall game here tonight. I don't think that this is something you can really look at and be like angry about the result with Samsonov, but there's obviously some deficiencies in his game. There's some obvious flaws that are going on right now, and it's something that he's got to work out. Like that O'Reilly goal to me is that O'Reilly goal, the first one that is, where he comes out from the corner, rolls, and then shoots it low, and it goes under his pad, that's unacceptable. Like, that can never happen on a guy who's going to try to be a starting goaltender, especially in a position where you are struggling. You need to prove to the coach, you need to prove to the team that you're going to be able to make these easy, simple saves. He comes out of here again here tonight with another not great stat line, .875 save percentage. 21 saves on 24 shots. It's not like Nashville piled it on them. They did have some decent opportunities, but Saros down the other end, 33 saves, 35 shots against. He had a .943 save percentage. Again, and like Phenom here saying, I think Sammy played decent. That first goal was weak, but he responded and was solid rest of the way. Agreed. It's just like, decent is kind of how we're describing it, and I don't think that that's something to be overly happy about. Now, if we're going to look at it from where he was a couple of games ago when we basically sat there and said this guy's being terrible, to go to decent, maybe we're overshooting it, asking for almost perfection or an extreme jump in level of play, an extreme increase in level of play. Maybe we should be looking at this saying like, hey, just be a little bit better, chip away, and then we'll get back there. I think that might be something for Samsonov and his level of play where we should be kind of happy with it. But yeah, I think decent is right. That first goal was really bad, and it's just something I think in Leafs fans' minds, in the team's mind, all that, it's going to be something where it sits there and you look at this guy and go, he's still struggling, he's still got problems, where at the end, even though I think we're gonna walk away and say, hey, it was a mediocre game from him, it was pretty mid, we're still going to look at this with him and say like, oh yeah, he let in that weak goal. And to let in that weak goal is something that hurts. And I've talked about it on the show before. It's just one of those ones that's unfortunate because as a player on the team, you see that goal go in and it's slightly deflating. You almost look back there and wonder, can we trust this guy? Can we be in a position here where late in the game, we're up one, a play goes back the other way. Can we take a chance? Like, can you have a guy make a riskier pass? Maybe at this point you start to grip your stick a little bit too tight, not be creative, and then you don't play your game because you're sitting there thinking, we can't give up any opportunities against this guy that's in the net. And you see that goal go in on him, and it's the first goal while he's already been struggling so far to start this season. It can be a little bit of a dagger to the team and the confidence going into this game. Now, I think the team still played really well. I don't necessarily think it killed them here tonight, but I do think it's something in the back of their mind. So Samsonov, for me, still not good enough. Did he play better here tonight? Yeah, he played better. He was decent. Another guy who's decent, and another guy who has been basically decent or mid for all of the beginning of the season here so far, the 8 games in, has been Mitch Marner. And I'm seeing a few people talk about it in the chat here now. I don't want to make this a rain on Marner's parade kind of thing. He does have the assist over to Matthews, who passes it across to Nylander on the Nylander goal. And he does have some points here, but it's not really about the points and the stats that are being put up. And it's not anybody sitting here saying this guy's playing mid, or this guy's playing this guy's playing poorly, or this guy's playing at a deficit to the team. The problem with him right now is he's just being a decent player on the team. He's not being Mitch Marner that he's kind of led everyone to believe that he is year in and year out. And I think that is the issue for people right now watching him, is that you want a little bit more. Because is he playing well out there? Sure, he's playing well. He's playing fine, but he's not playing like the Mitch Marner who makes an impact on the game every single time he steps out on the ice. He's not playing like the Mitch Marner that goes on the 25 or 26 game point streak like he did last season, where every time he's creating and causing opportunities, causing chaos for the other team. He's not playing like that right now, and that's the cause for concern for people. It's not that he's not putting up points or he's playing poorly. It's literally just Mitch Marner is a guy that you expect a lot more from than this guy is just another player on the ice, or this guy's a guy who can put up a point per game. He's not a point per game player. He should be 100+ points per season type of player. That's where we're looking at with him, and that's where the disappointment comes in his game. There's plays that he's making. I look to that third period specifically. There's one that really stands out to me, and he's along the right wall. John Klingberg kind of follows across over in support of him on the backside, and Marner assumes that he's in the middle of the ice, makes a no-look pass backhand, or behind his back essentially, that just goes out the zone, right back down the other end of the ice into the corner. The Leafs have to regroup and go and get the puck. And it's those plays to me that need to be cut out, where it's too fancy, too soft on the puck, too soft and rinky-dink with things that are going on. I get that he's assuming the guy is there, but you're making a pass to your defenseman behind you. You could just look. Like, that's not a play where you're trying to go cross ice or down low and you're looking the guy off and being deceptive. You're going back to your defenseman. Take 2 seconds and look, because the problem with that play with not looking is what happens there, where Klingberg is going over to support you and you're assuming he's 10 feet over to the left, and it misses and it goes back to your end in the third period of a tied hockey game on the end of a road trip. That's a play that has to be cut out. If he's going cross ice, or if he's going down low to the guy behind the net or in the corner, whatever it is, I can understand the no-look pass, because the worst case Ontario there that's going to come up is that it gets picked off and you've got guys back. The play that he makes, the consequence is that guy's not looking, that guy's not ready, or you pass it to the wrong spot like he did there. Puck's back in your zone, you're regrouping, and you've wasted 20 seconds of your power play. Just take 2 seconds. Take the look back, make the pass back. I see some questions here. Stephen Beer, nice mustache and the goatee, Zach. Is this for Movember? This whole situation here is for Halloween. After this show here tonight, we'll probably go for another 20 minutes or so. After this show here tonight, heading out, going to go out. My roommates and I are going as the Trailer Park Boys. So that is what's going on there. But no, this will be for November. 6 1/3. You got it exactly. That's what's going on. Look. See what I'm saying? There you go. But yeah, so that's what's going on. But we'll end this one in probably about, yes, you did 6 and a third. Probably about, yeah, I guess I can't put the drink down. I got to sit like this the whole time. In regards to other things going on in the chat right now that I'm reading through, I see it's still comments about Marner, and yeah, the point remains with him there. It's more just, hey, I get it. I agree that, like, hey, he's putting up points, he's doing some of that stuff, he's contributing, but it's not really that we're not ragging on him for not contributing. The point is that he's expected to be one of the best wingers in the NHL. He's supposed to be one of the best forwards in the NHL. Step it up your game. That's really what we're looking for here. He has not yet, through 8 games, looked dominant. And I think one of the things that's benefiting him here with the points and why he's getting these points is because he's playing with guys who are playing really, really well right now. He's playing on a power play with William Nylander, who is the hottest forward on this Leafs team, with Austin Matthews, who's still, even though he's not on 246 goal pace, is playing very, very, very well and still contributing, still looking dangerous every time he touches the ice. So you put yourself next to those guys, you're bound to get points. Like, you're bound to get something on the score sheet. It's more just, hey, make these plays yourself. Secondary is a lot of going on here, or passing to a guy who's just got a perfect opportunity, and it's not because of his setup, and that's not the Marner that we're used to. Spend games. JT and Nylander are nice together, though. Yes, agreed. I think that's fine. I see Arnett B here. This is where I'm going to go with this. Okay. Also, Steven, there's no Gordon's Corner tonight. It's not because of me. That's because Gord said he was out to hockey. He couldn't do it here tonight, so no Gord's Corner. I do see a question here from Arnav saying, I want to see line 1 change. Maybe put Willie there and Marner on line 2. Spend games saying JT and Nylander are nice together, though. Here's my thoughts. I know that the third line is going to take a little bit of a hit, and I know that I've discussed the idea that Nyes and Domi have started to look good together, and Domi's starting to find something in his game. He looks good. That second line of Bertuzzi, JT, and Nylander should not be broken up. You finally have awarded yourself some opportunity where you've got a little bit of depth within the left wing side where you can rotate some guys through. Bertuzzi does not need to be the guy to come out of there and take that hit off that line. That line looks really good, and you don't need to make a massive shakeup to the lineup in order to actually make some type of impact. Where I would go with this, I would be putting, or I would at least be looking to put Matthew Nyes on that first line. I think it's time. I think he's earned his opportunity. I don't think Bert played himself out of the first line, really. I think he just didn't have the hottest start. Then he looked like he got injured. He was playing like a little banged up, a little bit hurt, and then he gets pushed down to third line, fourth line, second line. Like, he's bounced all around. He seems to have found a spot here on the second line. He's helping those guys create space, create time, helping them out. I think that's his spot. I do look at this Domi-Nyes situation and think that this helps Domi, because I think playing with a player like Nyes is definitely helpful for him. But the problem for me comes in this. I don't think Järnkrok does enough on the first line right now. Maybe he's just having a slow time getting going. We did see him perform well there last year. But if you're going to test around some of this depth, you're going to test some of these guys maneuvering up and down the lineup, to me, Nyes, first line. Give him the go. Give him the opportunity. Let him play up there with Matthews and Marner. We saw him get more minutes last year in the playoffs. We saw him get those minutes towards the end of the season when he jumped up with the team where they would put him in the top 6. I think that he's kind of earned a spot up there. I think he's earned an opportunity, and I don't see any reason to just continue to hold him back down there in order to balance things out if this is what Keefe's trying to do. He's not afraid of the blender, so move the guy. Give him the opportunity. Push him up. That's kind of where I would go with it. I think, personally, this is time for Nyes to move up to first line. Get that chance. Järnkrok, go down. Domi, you're starting to find your game. Things shouldn't change for you with Järnkrok. Järnkrok can finish. Put him down to the third line. That's where I would shake things up. Phenom, if Sammy is the backup and he plays decent, maybe it's acceptable, but he was the number one entering the season, so we just have to acknowledge Wall is the starter. Look, here's my thoughts on where Wall Samsonov situation is at. Do not look at this based on who is paid more money. I know people have a tendency to do that and say, well, this guy can't come out of the top 6 or the top 4 because he's paid such and such. Who cares? It should not be about money. Money can be what is a determining factor for what goes into the season, where you project a guy to play. While the season is going on, you cannot force feed something just because you think somebody should be in a spot based on the money that they are paid. I don't think you should be looking at this and sitting there saying Samsonov should be the number one because he's paid more and he was expected to be the number one. That cannot be the idea. That cannot be in the vocabulary. You need to rid yourself of all of that moving forward. If Wall is going to be the better guy, he will be the better guy. You have to realize here that what happened going into this season is that Samsonov and Wall were budgeted to be the 2 goalies, and it didn't really matter how they were going to be deployed. And one thing I think people kind of don't really realize here, Samsonov came into this one and signed a 1-year deal. Obviously, he went to arbitration to get that number, to kind of come away from this one getting paid what he did going into the season. I think both sides probably thought it was fair, but he gets that 1-year deal, and then he's a free agent at the end of this season. That's fine. This Leafs team made a bit of a longer-term commitment to Joseph Woll. They knew that they had something there with him. They were prepared for him to start to maneuver up. You saw him start to get his chance last year. Looks pretty good. They move on from Shalgren. Goes on to the New Jersey organization. They were pretty comfortable with Joseph Woll and what he was going to be able to do, and the fact that he was going to be your backup goaltender this year, or at least the second guy this season. If Samsonov cannot do it, you make an adjustment. This is Joseph Woll's net right now. There was nothing Samsonov did here tonight to claim this net back. You go back to Joseph Woll the next opportunity that you can, and I don't think you have to feel any shame about it. I really don't. Continuing on with the chat. 6 1/3. I'm not upset with the loss. We deserve the win, but those are the breaks. I mean, yeah, but they did have some opportunities that were given up the other way that Nashville probably deserved to score them, with maybe some bounces their way as well. Like, this Leafs team came out and dominated in the first period. One thing I will say here, we did not get goalied. The Leafs did not get goalied tonight, but I will say that Saros is an incredible goaltender, and it's just going to be tough. You have to do things that I think the Leafs did well here, making him move side to side, not giving him clean looks, getting people to the front of the net, having people prepared for rebounds, tips, whatever it might be. The Leafs came pretty prepared for that here tonight. They did a pretty good job of executing that against Saros. It's just you do have to make some of these adjustments when you play against a goaltender who is that good. And he is that good. So nothing was going to come easy to this team here tonight. It didn't. You came out in the first period, which was nice to see. They actually came out and started playing well early. And then you had some opportunities that kind of went back the other way, where you gave Nashville an opportunity to gain some momentum back and not being able to bury there. So it was tough. I can't necessarily say, oh, the Leafs deserve to win this one. It's more just I look at this one and say, hey, this is one where you look at, this is the end of the road trip, 5 games. You've been over a week away from home. You are playing a really good goaltender. You did suffer a McCabe injury. You suffer a Liljegren injury here tonight. I think getting a point is fine, especially at the end of this road trip here. Yeah, still seeing comments about the facial hair. If you guys guess what's in the drink, what does Julian drink? I'll tell you that. Phenom. I like the impact Hughes has made, but I bet it is a challenge to learn how to play with him since he is a bit frantic and unpredictable. Yeah, I mean, maybe, but again, like, this is a guy that it's not like he necessarily came from an organization that was poor all the way around. He was playing with Dylan Larkin. Like, he was literally playing with Dylan Larkin. He is a very, very good player. He's not Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, Nylander, JT, but he is a top-tier player in the NHL. He's a very good player. He's paid like one, and he put up a great season with him. And then the thing that I look to and say, hey, this is a reason why no matter the frantic play, no matter the chaos that's built into his game, we shouldn't worry here with Bert. I think things will be okay. He went and played with the Boston Bruins and had an incredible amount of success with them points-wise, production-wise. He went over and played with those guys and was very, very, very strong. And he put up a lot of points. I don't think that his frantic, necessarily level of play is something to worry about here with Toronto. I think it will sort itself out. And I think Bertuzzi will continue to be an impactful player, could potentially be one of those guys, especially come playoff time, that we're going to sit here and look at and say, that guy is important to this team. He's one of those guys that might not necessarily show up throughout the season that you sit there and say, wow, this guy's so dominant, this guy's so important. That might not be where he's at or who he is, but hey, Bertuzzi to me is the guy that will make an impact in the playoffs. So that is what I look at with him and say that guy is going to be important. Again, want to remind people, if you are watching the show right now, you have not hit that like button, please make sure to hit like here on the stream, hit subscribe here on the channel, and turn on notifications. Do appreciate all the support here. And no, not whiskey, Steven Beer. It is not whiskey. Spend Games. Got it a little bit earlier there. I didn't see that. Okay, a couple of things that I noticed throughout the game. Then we'll get into play of the game, and then we get into grades of the game. There was a couple things that jumped out to me here tonight. The play by Matthews to Nylander, incredible. I'm going to save that one for a little bit later. We talked about Samsonov needing to save that shot by O'Reilly coming out of the corner. I still think that was one that he needs to have back. I think he's going to look at that one and know he should have had it back. I think that there has been a drastic change in William Nylander's game. I'm going to bring this up again. I brought it up probably every show that we've done on the live shows over the last little while. This guy is not just on a run right now. I mean, like he is, and at some point this might slow down or it might ease off. But what I mean is the level of play and the way that he plays is different from the William Nylander that we've seen 2 to 3 years ago. You saw it creeping into his game last year where he would develop these things and they would show up sometimes. Now it kind of looks like he's figured out how to harness them, use them to his advantage, and be such a different player. The way Nylander conducts himself on the ice is legitimately extremely impressive and crazy to see and think about versus where he was a couple of years ago. Because the way that he goes out on the ice and maneuvers, finds open space, wins battles, goes to the net, drives the net, this is a different player. He goes out on the ice. When he gets the puck, he commands the ice. He takes over and basically says, I will score here. I will make something happen. And it's not in the traditional, like, selfish, self-involved player type of maybe Swede way where they get those bad reputations for where it's like, hey, this guy's all about the points or anything like that. This is legitimately like, I'm going to make a massive impact on this game here, shift by shift. He looks strong. He looks competitive. And he looks like he has a different mindset towards the game and towards every shift. This is no longer just about, hey, we'll get through, we'll get our points, and we get to the playoffs. This guy comes out here, and it looks like he's just playing the right way every time he goes out on the ice. And I'm going to throw this out there. I know that Tavares took some heat over the past couple of seasons at points in time where you say, wow, that guy looks missing. Tavares looks like he's dead, and his contract's terrible. His contract's probably a little bit much. I get that. The Leafs did end up being victims of the cap a little bit. I think part of the problem was that Nylander alongside of him would have those moments where he would just disappear. And then he would come back and play like this a little bit, and then JT would look good again, and then he would disappear. Because you know who else has looked really incredible here through 8 games? John Tavares. And I think that they just benefit from each other with Nylander playing like this because John is a consummate professional who has an incredible amount of consistency to his game. Is he going to be A+, 82 games of the year? No. But he finds the range where you're dropping down only a little bit and for a short period of time, and then you're back up. and you put him alongside of William Nylander playing at this level right now, those two are going to be insanely hard to stop every time that they go out on the ice. So I want to give a huge shout out to William Nylander. Massive props for him. For the level of play that he's brought to this season and has carried over, in fact, from last season, but continued to elevate every single time he steps out on the ice. It's absolutely incredible. Spend games, Captain Morgan. That is what we go with, the captain. Gordon Moreau, give Willie the money, deal with Marner when it's time to. I mean, Willie deserves the money. I really, really think that Willie deserves the money. A lot of this stuff we've already covered. I do think that the Leafs did a good job here tonight of moving side to side, or making Saros move side to side. That was a positive here. That's something you kind of have to consider, because if you're just going to go and attack him straight on every time, it's going to be hard to beat him. He is one of, if not the best goaltenders in the NHL right now. He's one of those guys who's a Vezina candidate. He's going to help elevate that Nashville team. They weren't that great last year, but because of Saros being in net, continues to push them up. He's a insanely good goaltender, and you have to get creative to beat him. The Leafs only did it twice here tonight, but they generated tons of opportunities, and a lot of which came from making him move, going side to side, going north, south, east, west quickly after the fact. Like, there was a lot of puck movement, and then pucks to the net with traffic, sticks on pucks, people being ready for rebounds, people not being afraid in front. That was another thing that was kind of mixed into that, but I liked the way the Leafs played in the offensive zone here tonight. I think they did a good job of attacking the net, and I think that maybe this is one of those ones where it's like, hey, variance. Pucks didn't bounce your way tonight, but you do that every night against a team like that. Over time, it will pay off, because that was the right way to play, in my opinion. Felt like a good team game all around. Touched on the Marner stuff. Defense looked fine. Riley, to me, has been very, very good. I think he struggled a little bit in like game one, getting out of the gate. But since that point in time, to me, I think Riley has been very strong. I think that he took that comment about him playing to his playoff potential personally. I think that that's something that's in his mind, that now he's like, hey, people don't think I'm playing up to my expectations, and it's because of the way that he elevates his game when it comes to playoff time. I think that was fine, or that was interesting to see his response to that publicly, and then you're seeing it now on the ice where it's actually showing out. I like his level of play here. Gio, I think, played a fine game here tonight. Hopefully Liljegren's all right. Still waiting for full updates. Seeing tweets from Mark Masters come through, so trying to check those. I mean, I don't really have too much else to say. I can touch on some of the goals here. The one, Leafs holding Nashville in the zone for a long time. I think that the Klingberg... Actually, you know what? While we do this, let's just get into the play of the game. All right, very easily for me here tonight, play of the game is going to be the William Nylander goal. Matthews keeping that puck in. JT goes to give him a pass back. It's a little errant. Matthews reaches out, holds it, turns around, dishes it across to Marner. Marner quick give and go into him. And then Matthews makes a quick move to kind of freeze everybody and dishes it across to Nylander backdoor, who one times at home. That was just a beautiful play. Smart hockey, fast hockey, making decisions quickly and on the fly. So great goal there from Nylander. That's my play of the game, but honorary mentions go to these. The Mark Giordano goal, where Nyes and that line of Domi and Kampf, Gio, Klingberg, and Nyes out there for time, holding in Nashville into that zone. I believe it had hit just over a minute of offensive zone time against them, where they pinned them in, were cycling, getting chances, getting shots on net, and then recovering the puck. It was, first of all, a great shift there, but then the puck bounces loose. Nyes rips across, keeps possession of the puck, steals it away, picks up the loose puck, goes through everybody, kind of around into the corner, into the boards area, dishes back to Klingberg, and then Klingberg, as he does so well, walks across the line, walking backwards, fakes the shot. The Nashville forward goes down on one knee, slides right past. Klingberg steps in around, opens up the lane, goes down to Domi at the side. Domi tries to make the cross crease pass, gets deflected, but then David Kampf knocks it over and across, and Giordano taps it in. So obviously on that play, you're going to get assists from Max Domi and David Kampf and not Klingberg. But I do think recognition needs to be given to Nyes for scooping up the loose puck first and foremost, and then John Klingberg for that incredible play out at the point. Those, to me, that is going to be another play of the game. Honorary mention for play of the game there. So shout out to that one. Now, we're about 35 minutes in. Gave some of my plays of the game, talked about some of the stuff that went on. Try to continue to make some more videos here. We obviously will have people calling in future, so things get busier and busier on the show, but let's close things out with our grades of the game.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
I'm going to give this one a B+ here tonight. Interested to see what you guys have in the chat, but B+ for me, and here's the reason. You generated 35 shots against Saros. Maybe I'm a little bit optimistic and looking at it with the, end of a road trip lenses. But it was the end of a road trip. It was the end of a long road trip where you started this probably leaving last Wednesday. You played Thursday against Florida, Tampa, Washington, Dallas, and now Nashville. I'm going to go with a B+. The only reason that I even could go a little bit further down to like a B, but I'm just going to be optimistic here, is Samsonov to me still wasn't great. But I think, as people said, he was decent. So if I'm going to look at it from the lens of, hey, he took a step up from being really bad the last time he was in the net, then sure. He takes a step forward here, gets a little bit better. Things continue to progress with this Leafs team, and then maybe you get yourself just 1A, 1B, and we're fine with the goaltending situation. Now, I think the offense looked pretty good. You generated a lot against Saros. I still have the concerns with Marner, as I'm going to. Don't want to continue to get into that. You get banged up defense. McCabe didn't come into this game. Fraser Minton was sent down. You call up William Lagesson. I think he looked fine. Didn't really stand out to me, but I think he looked fine. You're going to ask more of, again, here, Gio, Brody, Riley, Klingberg going to be asked more out of. And I think for the most part, these guys delivered. They played pretty well here tonight. So I'm going to give them the pass on this. You're obviously tired. It's been a long, mentally, physically wearing trip. You played some tough teams, some tough games here. And you come away with loss against Florida, but you get a win against Tampa, a win against Washington, a win against Dallas, and a point here tonight. So all in all, you come away with 7 points of a potential 10 on the road. I'll take that. I do see a question there. Phenom, Zach, any concerns about the puck to the wrist injury Morgan took in the first? Is that type of injury that could get worse post-game? 100% that could get worse post-game, but I would also say that that's something that could get worse between periods, and if you felt fine coming out, then probably fine. I mean, this Leafs medical staff is the best in the NHL, I would say, based on all the reports that you get, the grades that they're given. I think they're going to take care of this. Like, it's not like this guy's not going to get iced up and get all the meds and training and rehab that he needs over the next couple of days. I think he's going to be fine. Not really worried about it. If it was actually like bad between periods is probably where it would be feeling the worst, because adrenaline's going to drop a little bit while you're playing. It's going to be rocking. Then it kind of takes that decline. That's where things will start to feel a little bit tough. So I think we're fine. But otherwise, that's kind of where I'm at. Play of the game, Nylander goal. I think that was incredible. Honorable mention, the Klingberg play at the top where he drops the guy, passes it down to Domi, and then Gio ends up scoring after Kampf dishes it across to him. And my grade of the game, a B+. I do appreciate everyone who watched here tonight. If you did enjoy the show, please make sure to like, subscribe here to the channel, turn on notifications so you get notified every single time we go live here on Third Man In. New channel, please pass the word around to get more people and more eyes here on this channel. It does help support the show, so thank you guys very much. Look forward to seeing you after the next Leafs game, and for more live streams, for more videos, you can find that all here on the Third Man In channel. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Enjoy your nights, and as always, well, happy Halloween, but as always, keep believing, guys. Enjoy. We'll see you next time.